Avoir. Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of FitPet Boston Talks. My name is Leah Lodato, and I am the host of the show. Today, I am joined by my spouse, Lori.
Hello.
And we promised an episode this week. It's Sunday, so we didn't quite make it into the week.
We made it.
We made it. It's the weekend. Close enough. Close enough.
We did it.
Thank you so much for listening to this show. If you're brand new to the podcast, historically, I have sat down with local Boston area dog handling professionals. We sit down and chit-chat about our lives, dogs, and careers. I have had the great pleasure of meeting some amazing folks over the years, some of whom have become quite close friends of mine, which is always really cool. But I just wanted to thank everybody who has been on the show, who's participated in this project. Everybody who comes on just has a great way about them, and it's fun to listen to their stories. In the meantime, so when I'm not sitting down with someone I don't know so well, Lori and I will do deep dives on specific training and handling topics, or we'll just catch up with each other, let you all know what's going on, talk a little bit about problems that arise, and we try to keep it light. So, if you don't know, Lori and I were both dog trainers. We work in the greater Boston area. I primarily am a dog walker, so I spend most of my time in the woods and on the streets walking dogs, which is great because
on the streets.
It teaches me a lot about dogs and dog handling, and I really enjoy doing that. I teach some private one-on-one lessons. We do group classes, and both of us are involved in a variety of different sports and activities with our own personal dogs. With all of that said, welcome if you're brand new. Lori, what's on your mind today?
I have a few things, but the first is just watching those leaves blow everywhere right after I cleaned them yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Yes.
There they are.
There is no greater enemy in New England than the fallen leaf. We use full firepower to try to extinguish this enemy.
Yep.
And if you drive through the streets of Winchester and Medford, all you hear is the barrage of leaf blowers.
Yeah. So much
morning, noon, and night.
So much so that I had 2 home visits and they had to direct me how to get to their house around all of the landscapers.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And one of them was cutting a tree. So I'm in the lady's backyard and we're yelling like this, trying to talk over the chainsaws. The good news is the puppy didn't care.
That is good.
Because, I mean, when I tell you, I just looked to my right and there were trees falling. I didn't feel safe.
Yes. It's crazy. You know, so my friend Julie, who listens to the podcast, hi, Julie.
Hello.
She occasionally would take the day off and come to work with me. And Julie works for the city of Newton, and they do not allow leaf blowers above a certain decibel level.
Shut up.
Yeah, in Newton.
Take a hike.
She has some really funny stories about people coming in that get fined because you can get a decibel reader on your phone and walk outside.
Stop.
Oh, yeah. And so the residents do this if they see, 4 or 5 guys cleaning up a yard and they all have leaf blowers on, and they record the decibels and then they videotape the people, and the town sends somebody down there to find them because it's just easy money for the town.
They get a fine?
Yeah, it's like $900.
These people must have nothing to do, these neighbors.
Yep.
Oh, you know what I would do? Take my my big leaf blower, my backpack, and I would just blow it right out of their hand. Come here. Kush, kush. No, I'd blow their hair right back.
Okay, so you and I might disagree about this policy because I am a very live free or die type.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be left alone. I think taxes are too high. I'm one of those, people like, I like giving individuals freedom to do things. However, I completely understand why towns outlaw leaf blowers because it is unbelievable. Like, I'll be driving down Everett Ave in Winchester and there will be 3 landscaping crews close by and I literally can't hear. It is crazy. So I'm thinking about these people that are trying to work from home with quotation marks. And I don't know how they do it. I won't mention the clients, but I picked up a client. There were a landscaping team there. I dropped the client off. I went about my business. I drove by the house 5 hours later, and I don't know if the landscapers took a break and then came back to this house. They were still there blowing leaves for
because
5 hours straight.
They keep falling.
Yeah, but
I'm telling you right now, because I'm that person with the leaf blower. Thank God we live on a dead end.
Yeah,
because somebody would sell me.
Nobody complains.
I'm a pro at moving those leaves now with that leaf blower.
Yep. But I can see why towns are like, no more leaf blowers, because it's ridiculous. Well, and I think the other issue is the expectation that the owners have, because they're paying these extremely high prices for the landscapers to come and do fall cleanup. Yeah, I know the leaves are
wind
falling.
Is like, I just fucking can't. I can't.
So people pay these crazy high prices and expect their the front lawn of their house to look like a floral arrangement once the landscapers leave, and not a single leaf. I feel like if people had slightly lower expectations, it would help the situation.
I don't want but a leaf. And then I'll clean everything and look at my neighbor. My neighbor who doesn't care. He doesn't care. What is he doing? He drives once a day to get a Dunkin' Donuts coffee, and then he goes home. I actually don't even think he eats food. And his leaves, he just waits. He just waits. He should stand out there with his little jean shorts and white New Balance and just watch them blow over to my fucking yard so I can do it. And then yesterday, I love my other neighbor. Before she walked up her walkway, she signaled me, because I have my little ear blockers on because I'm already half deaf. And she signals me to clean her walkway before she takes a step up. I felt like such a little person. I was like, yes, madam, whatever you wish. And I blew the leaves. It was so, and of course, once you blow off the walkway, right? The leaves are now blocking her driveway. That's not acceptable to her. So now I got to blow them that way.
So you did the whole property. Great.
Not the whole property, but enough. And then I fell. I fell so hard. So hard. My father thinks that rocks are a beautiful lawn decoration.
Oh yeah, we got like decorative sculpture, in our front. He thinks that rocks are like a feature, so he'll take a rock that's just heavy enough for him to lift, and then,
or not.
Yeah, or maybe he pushes it with the two. I have no friggin' idea how he gets the rocks from here to there, but he puts these rocks that aren't boulders, so they're not really big enough for you to say, oh, I got to pay attention to that. They're just big enough to trip on, basically. And Laurie tripped on one. I felt terrible.
You should feel terrible. And I moved a whole row of them so that when I was cleaning, I wouldn't have to worry. Nope. Yesterday, I was just taking that rake and I was backing up and raking like a beast. I, honest to God, just look at it like you would think I was weightlifting. And bam, I'm down. And I look to my left and there's another rock. I'm like, I could have got a concussion and nobody would have found me. So I took a picture of myself lying on the ground, as one does. And I sent it to Leah, and I'm like, she's going to come running out and she's going to show how much she cares for me. Nothing. Crickets.
I was on the phone.
She was on speakerphone scrolling through Facebook.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were. You were scrolling.
I was not.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I could have died out there. So I just laid there for a while wondering who saw me. Maybe the guys down the hill, Maybe my neighbor who watches me clean all his leaves that blow over. Anyway, I'm fine. It's just a moment,
Well, phew.
Everything hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Grooming dogs hurt. And then somebody hit me up yesterday. Oh, we have plenty of time next week for a groom. Do you? Do you, Margaret? Because I don't have time. You need to book ahead. Okay? And your dog, I have to hold into place the entire time while I'm scrubbing.
Yeah.
It's not a good time.
No.
It's not a good time.
Grooming dogs is hard. It's time consuming and it's definitely hard on the bod.
Oh.
Even if you have a friendly dog or a dog that can tolerate it really well, you're leaning over, you're bending over, you're lifting things. And I feel very lucky that I don't do it every single day. Although I love a nice clean dog.
Me too. Like I love the finished product, but some of them, they just suck the life right out of me. And then they just fall down. They don't even stand. And you got to lift this ass up.
Yeah, so you can dry underneath.
And they're older and they're like, Lori, I can't. So now I'm holding my arm is like underneath the crotch area there. And I'm just like holding against the wall so that they can lean on my arm. Or I'm underneath them. My back is like holding them up while I trim a paw. My neighbor was like, oh my God. I don't think she listens to the podcast. Lily is just so bad now that she's older. She can barely stand. I can't wait for you to groom her when we come back. This dog hasn't been groomed in like 6 months. I'm the only one that grooms her, and she tries to kill you. So I have to muzzle her for the first half, but she loves a good bath. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, I am holding her up with my back to try to support her to make it less difficult. And sometimes I'll put a dog on the ground if they really can't hold themselves up. So I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to make her stay there so that she can see the hell that I go through.
Yes. That is the best way to show owners. And sometimes when the dogs are older, we need the owner to come to help, because it helps keep the dog calm and it makes it 10 times easier for Lori to do the job. And then the owner can see how difficult and time consuming it is. And I feel like that's a new appreciation.
But if the owner makes it worse, I got to boot him out, and then I'm doing like yoga poses to try to hold the dog up.
Yeah, not fun.
And she's a chow mix, so that's like, is that enough information for you of how much I would have to brush her? The hair's just flying in my face. It's like, oh, like I'm getting shot.
Oh my God.
But I am thankful for business.
Yeah, me
Let
too.
me just say that while I have fur flying in my face and phone calls and a lot of puppies lately. Are all the other dog trainers getting a lot of puppies right now?
Yeah.
We are. We're getting a lot of them. Mm-hmm. A lot of second dogs. Everybody's getting second dogs.
Yep.
They're worried. Mm-hmm. Worried their old guy is going to see you later and they're going to need a standby.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A lot of business. It's really good. I had a great week of dog walking. Made some progress with a couple of dogs, which is always nice. A couple of younger dogs. And yeah. Actually had an interesting conversation. I was talking to Vanessa yesterday, and we were talking about a dog that I've been walking for a few years now. His name's Stanley. And it's a really interesting case. I'll try to make it as concise as possible. Maybe you can chime in, Lori. But so Stanley's a golden retriever. He was trained at a board and train before I started hiking with him on the collar. I'm not exactly sure what they did there, whether I assume that it was all like the regular board and train stuff for off-leash reliability. But when I started to hike Stanley, I had the electric collar on him, and I didn't really have any opportunity to use it because I spent probably 2 or 3 walks with him on my own, and then I had him join a group because he was pretty reliable. And then one day he found a coyote carcass. And so he ran over to it, and it was kind of far away from me. I want to say maybe like 50 or 60 feet. And he started like rolling in it.
Oh,
so
yummy.
I called him back to me and he didn't come. So I used the remote. He just stands there and shakes his head. And I had noticed that he had this head shaking behavior quite a bit. And so I'm like, So I try again with the remote collar. And again, there was no response from him to what I was asking him to do. He would just shake his head. So eventually I had to walk over there and put the leash on him and take him off of the dead thing. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So then I asked him to sit. Obviously, no need to use a remote collar. He shakes his head. I'm like, He sits. I asked him to lay down. He shakes his head. He lays down. I just say his name and he shakes his head. And so I said, okay, obviously the remote collar in the situation with the dead coyote was stopping him from rolling in it, and he shakes his head, and then he was continuing to roll in it without complying with what I was asking him to do. And then every time he was getting any information from me as far as a command, he just had this head shaking behavior. And if you work with dogs on the remote collar, that is a common thing for them to do, especially like the first couple of times that they feel this stimulation from the collar, because there are boxes on either the left or the right of the neck. So if you think about it logically, if they're, feeling stimulation on one side and they turn their head to the other and kind of shake it off, and then the stimulation goes away, all of a sudden in the dog's mind, oh, if I shake my head, that is what is making the stimulation go away. So for Stanley, he learned absolutely nothing about the e-collar stimulation and what it means. So after that hike, I just said, okay, well, now I have to be careful, because if he decides to go after a deer or a person or another dog or something like that, I don't have this tool to use for reinforcing a recall, because he won't recall. He just walk through the woods shaking his head.
Shake your head, roll in the carcass, shake your head.
So I actually called e-collar Technologies. I love their customer service. They're great. And I just told them like what was going on, and they suggested adding another receiver box to the collar. And I asked, why is it better to do that instead of getting a stronger e-collar? Because they make these canine tactical e-collars that are for working dogs, and the stimulation goes higher basically than the mini educator. And she just said that it would provide a different way for him to actually feel the stimulation, right? So now, in the past, he's kind of, he shakes his head and he's able to escape the stimulation, but now it's coming from both sides. So I put the remote on, and the first time I took him out, it was just me and him. And I basically was having to wait for him to make a mistake, because I don't train dogs with a remote collar using the e-collar for every single command. So they do this sometimes at board and trains, and I think it's a huge mistake. But anyway, I asked him to sit. I had a ball. I threw the ball over his head, and of course, what happens? He breaks the sit. So I say, no, sit. And I use the remote, and it was set on like a 10, so nothing crazy.
I'm sorry, 10 on both sides?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
10 on both sides. And so I'm like, sit. Give him a little tap, and he just like looked at me. Like he was completely confused. He sat. I released him to the ball, and that was it. That was all it took. And now if he blows me off, I do have the remote collar, and I can use it to reinforce the recall at a much, much lower level than the level that I was using when he was super duper distracted. So it took a little bit of finessing, because I had to figure out a way to introduce the tool again in a different context. And I was thinking, after talking to the representative, like, well, is more really going to be better? Like, if the dog's screwing up, what are you going to do? Put 10 receiver boxes on this collar? But it was just so interesting to realize that he had a classically conditioned response to the stimulation. He shook his head. And even to this day, if I call his name, there's no information from the e-collar or anything like that. He shakes his head. Like, he'll shake his head and then come back to me. So he really developed this reflex, I think, from previous training. And it's not he's not completely broken out of it, but at least by changing up the tools a little bit and reintroducing the idea of the stimulation and what it means, it helped me to be able to use that and have him off of the leash, because I can't have a dog off of the leash if he's running after a deer, just shaking his head all the way down the road, because basically the e-collar got ruined, I guess. Is
he still on 2?
Oh, yeah.
So he's always on 2 now.
Always on 2 now, yep.
What made you not want to just put a long line on him and make him come in?
I did.
So you did both?
Yeah.
You had 2 boxes on him?
No.
And
so when I
line?
first had him out, I had no long line on. Because I figured, he's trained. He did the board and train, right? And then after that situation where I was calling him and he wasn't coming back to me, when I took him out with the new equipment, I did put the long line on him. But I was asking him for just a regular sit, right? And kind of waiting for him to make a mistake. And I had to challenge him a little bit by throwing the ball, because obviously he wants to chase it, right? So he did make that mistake, and I was able to reinforce with the collar and not the line, just because I need him to understand the e-collar, And
yeah, the whole point is learn the e-collar again.
Yeah, exactly. But that was very interesting, because I had never come across that problem before, where the dog sincerely thought, this head shaking behavior
makes it go
is
away.
what makes the stimulation go away, and it has nothing to do with what she's asking me to do, which is the exact opposite
of what you want.
of what we want.
Well, good on him. He's like, if I shake my head, this goes away.
Yeah, but it makes sense, because if you're using the collar every time you ask the dog to do something and they're feeling the stimulation, non-contingent on their behavior, which is wrong. You shouldn't do that. it's confusing for the dog, right? And honestly, sometimes, we're just tapping it. So if they figure, oh, well, if I just shake my head, it makes that go away. There's no connection between sitting, laying down, coming, nothing. And yeah, you basically ruin your chances of being able to use that thing, because the remote collar is like pressure from anything. And if the dog just gets used to it, they just get used to it. And then it's as useless as a leash, right? Because we see dogs pulling through leashes all the time and then they don't care. They've just gotten used to that pressure.
Yeah. Or yeah. Every time we get puppies, I'm sure every dog trainer gets this phone call or situation. The dog, and this is before they come to you for their first class on walking or obedience or whatever, and the dog just pancakes in the middle of the road or just sits in the middle of the road, and the owner doesn't know what to do. They end up dragging the dog. So that's been, honest to God, that's been the number one thing in all of my puppy classes. The dog just stopping or pancaking, or they don't want to go down the stairs, so the parent picks them up. So now the parent is picking up this 50-pound dog to go down the stairs. I mean, it's unmanageable.
Yeah.
And then I try to talk about leash pressure, but I'm always worried that I'm not going to be clear, because sometimes leash pressure is okay and other times it is not. If you are teaching loose leash walking and that leash is immediately tight, it's a nightmare and it will never work. Mm-hmm. I don't care what anyone says. Loose leash walking, if that leash is tight, it's not going to work. And I just put them on a long line and I just start to reward the dog with a toy or food for showing up at my left side. That seems to work pretty good. And if I'm practicing this walking and things are going well, great. But if the dog pauses from a distance, I'll wait a little bit without any pressure on the leash. And sometimes the puppy will start moving again. And then once they catch up and we have many, many good moments of the dog walking at my side, I'll reward that. Make sure that I'm rewarding after walking, not just when the dog catches up, because then they'll stop, catch up, think they're going to get a reward, stop, catch up, think they're going to get a reward. So I try to eliminate that by having many, many good steps after the dog catches up. That's one situation. The next one is the dog doesn't move because he's like, nope, I will sometimes add a little tension. Not even, I guess I do both things. Sometimes I'll just pop the leash really light and the dog might start moving again. Yeah, good boy. And then I get him moving again. That's just a little pop. The other thing is the dog pauses and I will add tension. And then sometimes the dog moves. Like every puppy is different, right? I don't know if everyone else does it that way, but those are things that work for me. I see where the dog is at. And obviously it's affected by how much the dog has been stopping, for how long they've been practicing this behavior. And the parent will either pick up the dog or they'll walk in the opposite direction they wanted to head in. So the parent wanted to move forward. The dog stops. The parent's like, screw it. And then they walk back where the dog wanted it. And then the dog starts walking back to the house.
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if I'm making myself clear.
Yes. And we kind of talked a little bit about this in the last podcast. But another thing that I think owners do that's a mistake is they take the puppy out on a walk and it's just too damn long. It's too long.
Too far,
too long. The puppy gets tired. They lay down and they don't want to move. And if you have a little puppy that's, let's say, under 16 weeks, they really need to be on a long line exploring, go to the field, go to a place that has a large shoulder on the road that you can just kind of let the line out and let them just wander and figure some shit out. And I think it's a huge mistake to put a puppy on a 6-foot leash and then go for a 1-mile walk, because they're going to get distracted at some point and there's going to be tension on the leash at some point. And if you're not a really good trainer and can kind of build in these little training sessions during that walk where you're maybe practicing a little bit of healing so that the dog learns, okay, it's pretty cool when I hang out on mom's left side, I get bonused out and we get to play or I get food or whatever. You know, most dog owners, they just can't do that. They don't know how to do that at first. And that's part of what we try to teach people. But another part of that is just make the walk manageable. Don't say, I'm going to have this puppy out for 20 minutes. They're not going to last 20 minutes on a 6-foot leash. You know, maybe they'll follow you around a figure 8 a couple of times and then play with them for a while. But don't have this expectation that your 12-week-old puppy is going to be able to like walk around the whole neighborhood without getting distracted or laying down and not wanting to move.
Yeah, when you're working on walking with a puppy, don't worry about, just focus on one thing at a time. Don't worry about whether the dog needs to go to the bathroom or whether the dog needs to sniff. I don't think a walk is a time to teach a puppy to, let them have it's not that time. We're worried about walking. Let the dog go to the bathroom on leash in your backyard and then go for your walk. And then if you're worried about having, sniff time in, sometimes I'll stop after if the dog's been doing really well. Oh, it's a good boy walking right by my side. Oh, nice. Hey, go check it out. And I'll give the dog a minute to go check it out. I'll let them sniff, 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 sniff. Maybe you get a pee in. Good for you. All right, let's go. And then we start our walk again. But my main concern is never, I'm going to let the dog sniff and soak up nature, especially a puppy, because they're just going to keep their nose down the whole time. And I'm certainly not going to go there without any kind of reinforcements because I have to be interesting. How can I be interesting with all these friggin' leaves falling? And the puppies are chasing those, and then the parents are ripping them out of the mouth. So what did we do during this walk? I swore at my puppy. He was an asshole. He stopped. I'm dragging him across the street. He ate a bunch of leaves. I spent all my time ripping them out of his mouth. And then I finally picked up the dog, put him underneath my armpit and cried all the way home. And nothing was worked on. He certainly didn't get any environmental stimulation, little olfactory orgasm, if you will, while he's sniffing the grass. And I said to one of my parents, and we even said this to Megan, and when was it? Friday with Archie, the Bernedoodle, who looks like a border collie. I'm just saying.
He does. It's really funny. Archie's
He's
a
a border
Bernedoodle. He looks like a border collie with brown on him.
And he loves Frisbee. Come on.
And he does
If
love
that's
Frisbee.
not you should have seen him the first time he had a Frisbee and his dad didn't know. And I was just throwing rollers and the excitement. And I have this video where he's walking along and then he looks up at me and his mouth is open. And I was like, this dog is having the best time of his life. That was just in my backyard. And then we went to the field and he's 7 months old and he's never been to a field. And I had him on a 25-foot line. And I was just letting him look around. And if he looked at me, that's a good boy. And he'd come running over to me. And if he just started walking at my side, I'd feed him. Or I'd play with him. And I had a tug toy. I'd throw the tug toy. He runs back to me. Play, play, play. Oh, I let him win. And then he runs off again. And he had the best time. I said, you don't have to go to a dog park. You don't have to even go to the woods. You can say, hey, I'm going to go down to that field for 20 minutes and let my dog be a dog, have his moment to sniff. And if he happens to throw out some behaviors, I'll reward it. I won't even ask for them. But if he comes running to me, oh, good job. Like I have this thing, if the dog's far away and then they look back, I'll say, oh, good job checking in. And the dog runs back to me. And I feed it. That's a really nice time for you and your puppy so that you're not crying on the way home.
Yes. And the other thing that you brought up is when you play with the dogs, they're much less likely to sniff the grass and eat the leaves and eat the poop and all that other stuff. I did that with Bodie, Bernese Mountain Dog, who eats a lot of grass. And so we went down to the field. Again, long line. I actually had 2 of them put together. So if there's a pro tip. If you need long lines that are longer than like 20 or 30 feet, you can always put 2 of them together and have a nice 50-foot line. That's what I did with Bodie. And like when we first got there, he was eating the grass. So we just did some obedience and I was helping the owner. Okay, you asked him to lay down and he broke it. What are you going to do? Well, okay, we did this. Release, sits, downs, recalls. He was doing great. By the end of it, Bodie's laying down at Mark's feet. We're talking. And the dog is not eating grass. He's just laying there.
He's tired.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, so all the problems that we have with him eating grass suddenly go away when we just do like literally 15 minutes of training. And there were some spots where there was goose poop, so we stayed away from those spots. But it was amazing to see how his focus just changed, and he was tired, so he's laying down, he's panting, and he's, looking around, and he wasn't eating the grass. So to me, that tells me, okay, yes, the grass eating behavior and eating everything behavior is really annoying, and we have to stop it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much hope, because if we just give him something to do for just a few minutes, yeah, he like stops doing the thing that we don't want him to do. Okay, imagine that. And then with puppies, if you have a toy and you bring it out and you play with them, they're engaged with you, they're engaged in the game, and maybe it's not going to last as long as you might want it to. Maybe the game only lasts 5 minutes, because that's as long as your puppy's attention span and their endurance lasts for. Okay, fine. It's 5 minutes.
And you'll figure it out. You'll figure out how long your dog can go, and hopefully you end the session maybe like 2 minutes before he conks out.
Yeah.
A lot of the times I'll be doing a class, I'm like, oh, just give me a minute. I got to learn the dog. Like, I have to learn what his speed is and how much stamina they have.
And when we talk about stamina, we think that the dogs can go all day, and some dogs can. But I'll use toss and fetch as an example. So when we play toss and fetch, we have 2 different leagues. We have a 60-second league and a 90-second league. So for the 60-second league, we're playing for a minute, and for the 90-second, a minute and a half. After the dogs are finished with their 90-second round, most of them are completely fried, because they have just been running at least half the length of the field for a minute and a half straight. And it surprises some people. And like, some people will try to run their dogs twice in a 90-second league, right? So like, the dog will run with one handler, and then the dog will run with another handler. So within the course of the league, the dog is running 4 90-second rounds. By their 4th round, even with plenty of time to rest in between, the dog is gassed. So when we're playing with our dogs, like, it really does make sense to add obedience, because we do need to give them a chance to rest if you're just throwing bombs for them.
Yeah.
Like, if you go out with a chuck-it stick and you're throwing 40-yard balls and they're retrieving 80 yards round trip every single time you throw the ball, they're going to get exhausted really fast. So integrate a couple of long sits and downs, or recall, or whatever, just to like make your play session last a little bit longer so that you can get the most out of it. And it's a great way to train and exercise the dog at the same time. And you can do the same thing with the puppy. You just do it for less time. You ask for less duration with the behaviors. You don't set the dog up to fail so much, because they're a puppy and they're just learning. But yeah, going to a field is
and
really
short
good.
Multiple sessions for puppies.
Yep.
And the only time, just think about us when we do interval training. I have had to change my training because, I'm old, but I need more rest time in between. If I'm rowing 500 meters, I want to do 2,000 meters. If I'm going all out, like some of these dogs are, most of them are going for the Frisbee, or even that Psycho Lab that loves the chuck-it stick. They are killing themselves for that amount of time. For me, if it's 500 meters, I'm going to need to breathe after if I'm putting my effort in. And then as soon as I can, have like a talking conversation, my coach was like, you should be able to talk to Buddha. And then you can go again and you have to go all out. But if we need a rest, your dog needs a rest. And before you start, let the dog walk around the field before you start chucking the ball, because you got to get that blood pumping. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you see those shaky legs. Like, yeah, they're going to shake after they go for a sprint, but let them warm up a little bit before you go full tilt with the Frisbee or with the ball. Short sessions, and you should, make sure you tell your customers, being outside is not an excuse for you to disappear. You can be part of this wonderful experience. I like when Buddha goes outside and he shows up at the door like, are you coming out? Because he's like, we usually hang out here, right? This is our time together. I like that he looks for me, because it means, oh, I did a good job. He doesn't think that going out is just blowing off the owner, or you don't exist when I'm out here. Well, that can't be, because if you ever want to go on a woods walk with your dog, he can't think, oh, once I'm outside, I don't have to pay attention to mom or dad.
Right.
And that definitely carries over to walking, leash walking. So yeah, that's out. That's that. I remember I wanted to because you said setting up the dog to fail, and I just I was going over with one of my customers in the beginning, like if you're working on recalls and the dog starts running towards you, start praising them and use that as a recall. Don't wait for him to start sniffing something in the corner and then call his name. Little things like that are like, quote unquote, setting the dog up to fail, make it easier for them. Yeah, that was one thing. And then the other thing that comes up, because I have a lot of puppies lately, is please don't play with your hands with the puppy, because it is piranha city with some of these dogs, and especially this lab puppy that I have. I mean, no matter how you present the food in your hand, he grabs your entire hand in his mouth. I'm like, this is not an issue for me usually. I cannot get him from grabbing your whole hand. So I'm hoping that now, after like a week and a half, the dad in the house, was playing with his hands all the time. And who wants to get bit by puppy teeth? It happens by accident anyway, but like you just get holes drilled in you. Mm-hmm. I have so many scars from Bella, mostly because I was sick. I had cancer, right? So anytime you get a bite when you have cancer, the scarring is unreal. I have all of Bella's marks all over me. Those are my tattoos. I don't need real ones. And I love to play rough with a dog, but I'll play with a toy. Get a long toy. The longer the toy, the better. The more you can drag it on the floor, the better, because the toy is away from your body. And then you can have your kids run with the toy, and the dog chases the toy and not your kid. And that's a really nice way to include your child in the training. And also I include kids by letting them do the food reward. I don't want food to be dropped on the floor, but if the kid feels more comfortable putting the food on the floor, I'll let them do it.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they're part of the program. Then they can feel like they're the dog's coach. And then they don't keep touching the dog until the dog starts, first it's a lip lift, then it's a vocal growl, then the kid still doesn't walk away, and then the dog will muzzle punch them, and then it just escalates. So, like one of my parents said, I'm having a problem with my kid. She won't walk away from the dog. And I said, that is your job, to keep your kid away from the dog. Because they can get hurt. Mm-hmm. I said, so hopefully if we start doing this, like you tell her that she's the coach and she helps you with training, she'll feel like she's taking a part in the dog. So that was my other thing.
Yeah, a couple of things that I wanted to say. Thing one, try not to play with puppies with your hands. If you have experience, I think that it's possible. For example, if I am working with a dog and it's taking the dog time to warm up to the idea of playing, I might use my hands a little bit to see if they get excited. I did this with Charlie. She was also a little nervous with me. So move my hands around. We were outside on the grass and she was like chasing my hands. So I whipped out a toy, and that was like the little introduction to kind of just see how interested she was in movement. And then she went after the toy. That dog absolutely loves to play. It's the cutest thing ever. I will do something like that. Absolutely. But if you don't really know what you're doing, it can be challenging to do it successfully. So I would say with a puppy, totally agree with what Lori said. Get a soft toy in your hand so that you can encourage them to chase that around and see if you can tap into a little bit of that prey drive and get them excited to play with you. I think that is really important. And I have used my hands, especially with a shy dog, just to kind of test what their level of commitment is to being interested in something that's moving around. But it's just not a good idea to play with your hands all the time, because you don't want that mouthiness to become a problem down the road. And then if you have a problem with it down the road and all of a sudden the dog gets corrected for doing something that they've been doing, forever,
setting them up to fail
with your encouragement, almost, that's a very weird thing to try to fix down the road, right? So I think that it's a very important message, like playing with your hands. And there's so many freaking toys out there. Just go to Marshall's, TJ Maxx. If your dog is having trouble engaging, pick something soft and fluffy, maybe something that squeaks, stick it on a rope, tease them with it a little bit. I think that most dogs will be interested, especially if it's like one of those soft, squeaky toys.
Yeah.
I love those things.
Oh, the crinkles. Puppies love the crinkles.
Mm-hmm.
If I ever had, definitely, those crinkles are a winner every time. The ones that sound like paper. I love it. As soon as they hear it, they get so excited. Hands are not a toy. They're just not. And imagine if Buddha walked up to somebody and just grabbed their hand.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, he's just playing. Calm down. He's just playing. Or even Jamie's little Elroy. Imagine he walks up and just grabs a hand. And Jamie's like, listen, he's just playing. He's just playing. A shepherd, a Doberman. No, it's fine. Everything's fine.
They're just playing. I know. There was something else that I wanted to say. What were you just talking about? You were talking about mouthiness and puppies. Food. So throwing food on the floor can be fun. I think it depends on how well you've taught your marker system. So like if you click, toss a piece of food, dog goes and gets the food and then comes immediately back to you to re-engage, to say to you like, okay, what do you want me to do to make that happen again? I have no problem throwing food on the floor. But if you ask the dog to sit and they start ground surfing because they're expecting to find food over there and they don't really understand like, okay, I need to sit here until I'm released from the behavior, then throwing food on the floor can be a ginormous problem.
That's why I don't like parents to do it.
Yeah,
because it just goes down a road.
Right, because people are just not good at marking and rewarding. We spend so much time with people teaching them how to say all done and then reward, all done and then move and feed, click and then move and feed. And it's very difficult for people to get the timing right with that. Ask anybody that comes to group class. It seems like a very simple concept, but in practice, it's a lot more difficult for people to do successfully. So if your dog doesn't really understand the marker system and what their release command is, and we go and throw a piece of food on the floor, they start ground surfing because they're just looking for, something else to do because they don't understand what exactly we're asking them to do. So I think once your dog really gets it, it's possible to do that successfully. I know that playing with food and getting the dog to move around can be a good thing, but generally speaking, I think for your average person, it is a difficult thing to do successfully, just like the idea of playing with your hands. If you're a dog trainer and you can do it in order to encourage the dog to play a little bit and kind of test their willingness, I think it's cool. But can most average people do that successfully? Absolutely not. It's going to turn into a massive disaster. So
I'd rather just be safe and say, here's a toy and this is how, squill it around on the ground.
Yep. Totally. Totally. You had one more question, right?
I didn't have
Where's the weirdest place you ever...
Oh, yes. Sorry. I can't remember these things from 1 hour ago. I can't remember, Leah. So any dog trainers who are listening to this, please direct message me or Leah. Where was the most inappropriate time you were asked dog advice? And with all my raking time, I've logged in. I was like thinking about this one instance a year ago where, just 2 weeks ago, we were at Carol's party, Carol's 60th party, Carol with Maple, who we've done a podcast with.
Yep.
And I saw this lady comment and I go, here we go. Every time this lady sees me, she talks about the dog her kids got her after her heart dog passed away. She hates this fucking dog. I hate him. He's such a bastard, but I love him. So this is like the normal talk. And he's just not annoying enough, right? And of course, he's a Frenchie, so he needed like 20 surgeries to open up his nostrils and just everything. And then okay. So he has like all the issues that a Frenchie would have, like his normal good breathing is like, oh, he's doing much better. So, okay. Not to I mean, I'm not counting the other 2 Frenchies I had, who were like the most amazing 2 French bulldogs I've ever met that look like they could be on a Schützen field. Okay, anyway. So she comes over and I'm like, damn it, she's going to ask me, but I'm just not in the mood for this right now. There is a time where I just don't want to talk about dogs.
Yeah, that is the case, everybody. We do like talking about dogs on the podcast because that's what we're doing here. But
or training.
If you see us in public, sometimes we just want to talk about life, you know?
Or yeah, or the word.
What have you been reading lately? I don't know.
I haven't.
How's the family?
Yeah. And it's always a dog book that you're reading. I don't know. How the dog became a dog. This is what Leah's book is right on the shelf right now in Coyote America. Mm-hmm. So, and the other part is when I used to drink. Sometimes I'd be a drink or 2 in. I got nothing for you. Yeah. If you ask me about the most I might say is, can you stop? I can't. I'm already in another world. You're talking to me, blah blah blah. Like Charlie, all I hear is Charlie Brown's teacher. And the worst is if somebody can see me like that, because I'm a little tipsy, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hear anything that they have to say. And I'm starting to like, my eyes are like looking in the other direction. Okay, so parties. I don't want to talk about your dog. And most of the time, by the way, when you're at parties, people just want to complain about the problem and then tell you, and you can suggest something if you're trying to be helpful, if you're trying to be there with the person and be polite, and they'll say, I just don't think that's going to work. So they really just want to talk about the dog and not solve the problem.
They just want to vent.
Yeah. And then
they want a listening ear.
Yeah. And so I let them talk. And then she asked me again. I said, I think that you don't care what I say. I actually said that to a lady. It was at Cassie's wedding. I said, I actually think that you have this under control. And she just looked at me and Cassie started laughing because Cassie was at the table. I'm like, done with your aunt. But the other time was, as I was saying, last year, I brought some props to help. Leah doesn't know what I'm going to do. Okay, please hold. So I'm at the hospital and it's time for my gynecology appointment. Glory be. So I'm wearing my napkin that they give you to wear, that sexy, crinkly thing. This woman comes in. It's more annoying because she is smaller than a number 2 pencil with Farrah Fawcett hair. This Botox is not a wrinkle on her. I'm pretty sure she's judging me because I'm in that part of my life. And the time comes. Okay, she's underneath the tent. She's underneath the tent. All right, let me get these. She's like, so, I noticed you're a dog trainer. I'm really committed here, guys, too. I'm underneath the towel. I have 2 Westies. The first one is an angel. Can you just scoot down? Just scoot. That's good. The second one, it's an asshole. Again, people hate their dogs sometimes. So anyway. He just sits on top of the sofa. Scoot down. You're going to feel something a little bit cold. Hold on. Just a little cold. Okay. And just, okay. So he sits at the window. I don't know why he barks all the time, but he does sit on top of the sofa and he looks out the window all day and he just barks. And he barks. And, sometimes I just want him. I think he'll feel better if he gets to look at the world. Just scoot down a little bit. You're going to feel a little bit of pressure. Okay. I just don't know why he's barking. And my other first one now, as he gets older, he's on that Aquil, the A drug. He has really bad allergies. He actually has no fur anymore. We got on the thyroid test. Do you have any suggestions for probiotics or anything like that? She's inside me, guys. Okay? She's inside. Okay, looking good in there. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and he's on those Cytopoint injections, too. So do you think we could make a class? No, you've looked at my vagine. I am not going to have a class with you. I am embarrassed. You have seen me in a way in which I will not feel confident strutting in there trying to train your dog. So that was my most inappropriate place to ask dog questions. So if you have a little something you want to send me about where you were you let me know. But it had to be, I have to say, it did take my mind off it because the whole time I go, I cannot believe this bitch is asking me questions about dogs while I am like spread out underneath a piece of tarp and she's just poking around in there. That's it.
That's a good one.
You let me know.
That's I think it's something to take the mind off of the current situation, but I'm wondering how focused she was on the job at hand.
Right. If she's worried about her Westie's allergies and then the other one who's barking at everybody and just watching the world go by. So I will say, like, I was so appalled by everything happening and kind of amused. It made the visit go a little faster. A little faster.
That's a good one.
All right. That's all, honey.
I have a similar one, not as extreme, but I went to the dermatologist last year and I am looking up at the wall and there was a poster that said, if you suffer from this specific condition and you'd be interested in being involved in a study, please call Dr. So-and-so. And Dr. So-and-so had literally just sent me an email because she was struggling with her dog. Oh. She lived in Winchester, and I look up at the name, and my dermatologist comes in, and I said, hey, can you tell me a little bit about this doctor who is doing this study? And she starts in on the doctor, and it turns out the doctor is like a huge deal.
Oh.
She's like very good dermatologist, teaches all this other stuff. So I didn't tell the dermatologist that we had a class together because I felt like that was a little weird, but I just thought that was an interesting connection. And I did tell her, I said, oh, well, I train dogs and it's just interesting, like that name rang a bell. And then the dermatologist just went off about dogs and dog training and her own dogs. And while she was looking me over to make sure that I had no lumps and bumps.
Mm-hmm. Oh, mammograms too. I've been hit up during mammograms. I just can't.
Well, those people, they do so many during a day.
They
I
don't
went
care.
to get a scan the other day. I'm like, how many of these do you do a day? And she's like, 100. I'm like, oh my God.
100 boobs a day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy.
I wasn't getting the boobs done, but
Whoa.
It was still crazy to think about.
It's a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once you have it, you're fine. Unless you break out into a hot flash, you keep sliding off the plate. It's
One time I lied to somebody on a flight and told them that I was like a nurse or something.
Oh.
Because they asked me what I did, and I just did not want to tell them that I was a dog trainer.
Well, that can be worse because then they're going to tell you about very personal health issues.
No, they didn't. I don't
God.
think I said a nurse. I forget what I said, but I lied, and I felt terrible about it the entire flight. And the entire time I was there, I was like, why didn't I just tell you the truth? But I just did not want to talk about dogs because it's inevitable because people love their dogs, right? You tell them like, oh, I work with dogs. Oh, then they're showing you pictures on their phone of their dog. And it's always so funny because when people start showing me pictures of their dog, I'm like, all right, I wonder what is going to happen if I try to show them a picture of my dog.
They don't care.
They don't care at all.
No.
It's like, okay, so if you don't care when I show you a picture of my dog, what in the Sam hell makes you think that I care when you show me a picture of your dog? I don't know your dog. I mean, I love dogs. I think cute pictures of dogs are amazing.
Yeah, love them.
Is it what I want to be doing in this very moment while we're here at this concert trying to listen to music? No, it's not. And it's always so funny to me when I do that comparison. I'm like, oh, well, let me show you a picture of my dog. I turn around, person's gone. It's like, what is going on? What is going? And I do know that I have that vibe. I have that vibe with people where they want to talk to me and they want to tell me stuff. I mean, strangers tell me
crazy shit
on a regular basis. I don't know. And my sister has the same problem. My brother makes fun of both of us constantly because he's like, you talk to people and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not asking prying questions. I just act moderately interested because I am interested. I enjoy talking to people and learning more about people. But it's so funny because it's not a two-way street unless they're my friend, where I can come through and say, okay, well, yeah, this happened to you. Well, this actually happened to me. And, kind of have that back and forth conversation. Very rare that happens with me and somebody that I don't know so well. So
yeah, I've learned about divorces, illnesses in the families, and you just feel wrecked for this person.
Yep.
Oh, and then I see them after and I'm like, oh man, they're going through it. Like everyone's just going through something. Now the holidays are coming, so everybody's going through it. You can just look at one person everywhere. They're all going through it. I got families. Oh my God, we have to go see the so-and-so's family this weekend so we can try to have a quiet, actual holiday. And then we got to go ship off to the next family. I'm like, is this what it's about? Because it all sounds so obligatory.
I love the holidays with my family. I like it. I mean, we got a lot of kids. I love spending time. I love my family. So I can't really relate when people are so bummed out to spend time with their family. Like, I understand being overwhelmed. I understand going into an environment and there's just so many people there and you're a quiet person and you have to kind of maintain for 2 hours. And I understand how that might be very stressful for some people, but I love hanging out with my family. They're good people and I try to see them as often as I can. And if there's amazing food involved because it's Thanksgiving, even better.
Even better. And I don't mind turkey. A lot of people don't like turkey.
I love turkey because it has gravy on it. Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, because otherwise it's dry.
Well, one would argue if you cook it correctly, it's not.
No, I've cooked turkey correctly. I have tried. I remember last year I deboned the turkey.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep. It was a huge to do. They didn't ask me to do it this year.
I know, but I feel like they're going to say, what do you mean you're not making it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about it.
Oh, dear.
Last week, and I think I'm off turkey duty this year.
All right.
But last year, it did come out unbelievable.
It was a good turkey.
It was a good turkey, and it was like an optical illusion because it had no bones in it, right? So I deboned the turkey. Jacques Pepin, YouTube, get on it. Start learning how to cook. That guy was amazing. But anyway, so basically you kind of like save the integrity of the skin and you take all of the bones out and then you put it back together like a surgeon and stuff it with whatever you want to stuff it with. I just stuff my turkey with stuffing. And by the time you get it put back together, it looks like a real turkey that you would cook in the oven with the bones in it. But then when you cut it, it's like you can just cut right through it like a loaf of bread.
Yep, it's like a slab of deli meat that you put in the slicer. It's so weird. It tasted
very
good
weird.
though. I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah,
it's gross while you were doing it. Absolutely gross. But tasted wonderful.
Made some delicious bone broth for the dogs that they enjoyed.
And then passes it out to whoever comes to the house, Catherine and
Melissa.
Oh my, they were like, absolutely, just packing that stuff up.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. Bone broth is so good for dogs and humans. And it's very easy to make. You put the bones inside a pot and you just boil it forever and ever. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
It makes delicious bone broth for dogs and humans. And the turkey, you get like nice collagen on there too.
Look at how focused we were this time, Leah.
We really were.
We did so much dog stuff in the beginning. Do you think people stuck until the end?
I mean, there's really no way to know.
There's cooking tips, dog tips, cooking tips.
I will say
gynecology visits. Who would have thought?
I do nutrition consults with folks all the time for people that are interested in learning more about preparing whole foods for your dogs. And I don't want to say this because I don't want anybody who has done a nutrition consult to have your hackles up or anything like that. However, I think some people really struggle with like basic cooking concepts. And I take it for granted that like my mom and my grandmother taught me a lot of those things. You can do it. You absolutely can do it. If you're not somebody that cooks regularly, it is such a rewarding practice. And it's an important life skill in learning how to use the oven and how to prepare things properly and all that stuff. It's so rewarding. And YouTube is a huge resource for me. Like I said, Julia Child, Jacques Pepin, all this stuff is on YouTube. You can go watch it for free. All the episodes with like, French cooking techniques. And not saying you need to know how to do that stuff to prepare meals for yourself or your dog, but listen, it does not hurt at all. And it's free. Love watching old cooking videos on YouTube. Very helpful and helpful for my clients. I oftentimes will refer them to some instructional videos that are really old and they'll be like, why are you making me watch this? I'm like, listen, you're going to learn how to prepare the food for your dog, but then, you get to learn how to spatchcock a chicken and roast a chicken.
Spatchcock a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
It is. Moist.
I don't appreciate that word. Spatchcock and moist. Really? It's full circle. what's happening in the podcast. Oh, one more thing, along with inappropriate places. What do dog trainers give their customers for the holiday?
Ooh.
If you give them anything, what have you found that has made your customers happy?
Yeah.
I passed out some really nice tug toys in class the other day. A couple jute tugs that I got on Amazon, pretty good price, just for being awesome and showing up to group class and doing a great job. Those seem to be appreciated, but I know sometimes like we get stuff from our customers, but what do they want? So what have dog trainers given? And if any of our dog people listen to this, our dog families, what would you like? You know?
Yeah. I do Christmas cards every year. This year they're going to come out a little bit late, but I find that my clients really enjoy the Christmas card, seeing their dogs on there doing fun stuff. And this year I'm going to do a little bit more writing because it's my 10th year.
Oh, this is your anniversary?
Yeah, I started my little business at the end of 2015.
Man,
yeah,
I don't keep track of mine. I probably should.
Yeah, I didn't really get cooking until 2016, but the wheels were in motion. And yeah, I can't believe it. Time flies. It's crazy.
So maybe we'll do that the next time. Gift ideas.
Yeah, gift ideas are good.
Hit us up.
You do a calendar. Everybody loves those.
Yeah, I do a calendar. It has all the dogs' birthdays in there. Make sure we cover all the bases for all the customers I see most frequently. Their dogs are shining in that calendar. This calendar, the nativity scene will be in there because believe it or not, it's only been a year since that came out.
I know, and we didn't include it in our Christmas cards or our calendar last year because we need to start doing that now in the beginning of November in order to get it out to the print and to have it ready to be passed out before the holidays.
Right.
So I always try to get my Christmas cards in the mail the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And people always say, you're always my first Christmas card. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it this year because...
You will.
I won't, because this week I need to get 2 pictures of dogs. I don't have a good picture of Lily, the pit bull, and I don't have a good picture of Coco because I just started walking her in the last couple of months, and I've really been focused with her on training and just getting her in and out of the house safely, so I haven't actually taken like a nice portrait picture of her. That will happen this week, and I need to get a nice picture of Lily as well. Sometimes the portrait mode on the iPhone is just too much, and the picture looks weird. And all the pictures I have of Lily are like that, and I'm just like, oh, this does not look good.
Sometimes it'll blur out the nose on the dog.
Because the nose is too close.
And if you do decide to do something like that, like cards or calendars, you got to take some pictures far away, because once you put them into the format, you can always get close up. Like Vistaprint will keep the integrity of the picture as you format it, but you need close-up shots. They have to be bright. It's now I'm so used to it that...
Yeah, you're really good at doing the calendar.
I know what to do, but yeah, and I want it done by Thanksgiving. Guys, save yourself the
headache.
Yeah, like some of my classes I booked right after Thanksgiving, knowing that my gifts would be done, or some things that I just need to do here at the house, or because the holidays are a really busy time. You're taking care of the dogs and then everything that comes along with it. So yeah, and parents, just if you need your dog caretaker or grooming, you got to hit them up early.
Yeah, hit them up now. Don't wait until a week before your trip.
Yeah, or don't.
It's so stressful for us.
Yeah, or we're going to email you. We'll email you when things have calmed down. No, email us now and we'll book for a month away. Things are bound to be slower then. And then if you hit us up in a month, it might push that appointment up another month. So don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's all,
proactive.
folks. On a Sunday, a beautiful Sunday, drinking my peppermint tea.
Yep. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you would be so kind, feel free to leave a review. You can leave a 5-star rating and review on Spotify. It takes 2 seconds. Very much appreciated. And if you would also be so kind, share the podcast with your friends. Send them a link so that they know where to hear the good stuff. We try very hard to put out relevant information that is also true. And we are real people doing the real thing every day. We don't get to sit in the studio and record as much as we would like to, but when we can, we do. If you have any questions for us, feel free to hit us up on Instagram at FPB Talks is the Instagram handle for the account. I'll also link that in the podcast description. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.